2, 1. Bear with me. Go to play. Recording has started. Mr. Weldy, it's all yours.
Thank you, Peter. Welcome to the April 28th, 2021 public meeting of the Lower Southampton Township Board of Supervisors. This meeting is being held virtually and is advertised as such. All of the supervisors are in attendance. This will be a teleconference meeting. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you. Prior to the meeting, the board held a work session, an advertised work session that began at 6:30 p.m. A lot was covered during the work session. I'll try to summarize that as briefly as I can. First, the board received an update from the township manager, a report on township finances from the year 2020, and also a report of township finances up to this date so far for 2021. Next, we received an update from the Park and Recreation Director regarding the plan to open up the Dolphin Club pool this year, and also the plan to hold summer camp. We'll get an update on that in the manager's report. Next, we received an update from the Public Works Director on renovations that are currently underway at the old District Court building next to the Township building, a report on cleanup day, a report on the grass cutting effort, and also a paving update. There were still a couple lingering things from 2020, some loose ends we're trying to clear up. Next, we received a report from the Fire Marshal and also an update on the Fire Marshal's food drive, which is still in effect and still going on right now. After that, we received a report from our zoning officer, Mike Italia, and he gave us a summary of currently where they are with zoning, permits, and code enforcement. And lastly, we received an update from the Playwicky Farm Committee, Rose McMenamin, on some upcoming events, and those events will be addressed on item 3 in tonight's agenda. That takes us to where we are right now. First item on the agenda is public comment. The public was invited to send any comments to be read into the record into the township email. And I'll ask Mr. Gaudo, is there any public comment to be read into the record?
Yes, there are 3.
Okay.
Okay. First one comes from Wayne Fisher, Buckridge Farms. The service that the Buckridge Farms community is getting from JP Mascaro is totally unacceptable. Often the pickup crews drop major amounts of trash and recycling in the street and do not pick it up. It is then up to the residents to clean this up. Yard waste is virtually never picked up on schedule, which is Thursday, and it is not unusual for all of it to sit on the curb until Saturday or Sunday. During this time, yard waste could potentially decompose and smell bad. Residents can't take that waste back because they may miss the eventual pickup time. Calls to the township offices received the response to contact Mascaro. Calls and emails to Mascaro are useless and no responses are received, and there are no improvements. Township management hired Mascaro. They should be responsible for seeing that the quality of the service is brought up to an acceptable level. This is similar to hiring a general contractor to do work at your home, and that the company hires subcontractors. The customer takes all the issues to the general contractor, and that company deals with the subcontractor issues. In this case, the township management is the general contractor and Mascaro is the subcontractor. Over the past year, residents were given the excuse that Mascaro was experiencing staffing issues due to COVID. We are far enough into the situation where Mascaro should have made the necessary internal adjustments. If Mascaro cannot provide the necessary level of service, township management needs to immediately engage a service that can do so.
Joe, who's that from?
Mr. Wayne Fisher, Buckridge Farms resident.
Okay, if I could just briefly respond, because that gentleman brings up a good point. I think everyone's frustrated throughout the township, and we're only a couple of weeks into yard waste pickup. And with the recycles, and some of it isn't getting picked up until Sunday, and some's not getting picked up at all. That being said, the Southwest Bucks Solid Waste Committee, our representative is Deb Kaplan, and the board chairman of Lower Southampton, Upper Southampton, and Northampton have been invited to a roundtable with Mascaro on May 10th. So we'll be attending that to address these complaints so it doesn't linger all summer. So we can
Yes.
understand where the residents are coming from.
Yeah, May 10th at noon.
The next,
Thank you.
okay, the next one is a Mary Jane Bamberski. I don't believe, okay, I live approximately 2 blocks off a street road by the Bucks Crossing Shopping Center. This evening, Tuesday, April 27th, you can hear loud motorcycles coming from that direction. It has been going on for quite some time now. What are the police and township doing about this? It's now almost 10:30 p.m., still continuing. Don't hear any police sirens. And the next one is Richard Fitzpatrick, and he's at 26 West Myrtle Avenue. I would like to know if we could do anything to address the excessive volume and speed of traffic on Myrtle Avenue. The street is used as a cut street through Bridgetown Pike and Buck Road by cars, trucks, buses, large construction vehicles, utility trucks, and everything else at all hours of the day and night. The speed at which people drive down our street make us feel unsafe with my kids riding their bikes in the front. People also use front lawn as their litter plate or litter space to discard trash from their vehicles. My wife and I bought this house several years ago to raise our family in the community, but the traffic coming down our residential street is becoming too unbearable. If all the residents of our street were on the same page about solving this problem, can we put forth a permanent solution? That's all.
Joe, and thanks. Maybe the last 2 complaints here can be passed on to the chief. The Myrtle Avenue complaint's been a complaint since I started police work 42 years ago. And they've tried everything. They've tried posting it. They've tried speed bumps, and they've tried aggressive enforcement there. So maybe a combination of them needs to happen.
Can we have that posted local traffic only? Is that legal? Can we do that?
We
And
have
then
that on
obviously
Old Street
enforce it.
Road. Tim, that's on Old Street Road, and that does not do anything.
Well, if it's posted and then we enforce it, it does.
It doesn't do anything.
And
There's limits when you're getting liquid fuels funds of what you're allowed to do. I mean, I think you refer to the chief and then we can have a discussion with him. But like Ray says, it's been going on for 42 years. I suspect everything's been tried.
Is there speed bumps there now?
No. Well, there was, and then some undercarriages of cars got ripped up and so forth, and the township was liable, so they took them out.
Because a lot of the roads have those speed tables now, like where it's like
Right. That might be an option, because they're less of a bump and they're painted over so you can see them. So that might be one option.
Yeah, but our residents definitely don't want to hear everything's been tried. They want us to continue to try to do something.
Well, we do have a traffic engineer. You might ask Joe if he has any recommendations, since everything we've done up to this point hasn't worked.
I mean, if we had the speed bumps before, could we consider putting in the speed tables, or if I'm saying the right wording for that?
Well, maybe they could go out there and paint lines on the road and use the AccuTrack or something like that to time some vehicles for speeding, and that usually works, and it sends a message because it's usually the same people cutting through there every day.
But that's a temporary fix, I think, Ray.
What's that, Deb?
That's kind of temporary. You know what happens after that's done? It just goes back to the way it was.
It has to be a regular thing. You're right.
I do like Frank's idea, maybe having Joe Fiacco, not only for this gentleman's road, but for all the cut through roads. Maybe he can kind of give us some sort of direction that might help.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, one thing that's been suggested in the past, although it was never done, was making them one-way streets, because then that kind of limits the residents that live there.
Yeah.
Why don't we have Joe look at, some of the more troublesome roads?
I mean, bring a lot of the options. Like you said, Ray, the one way, the speed bumps and all, or tables.
So why doesn't somebody make a motion? Maybe Joe ought to come in and tell us what he can and can't do before we make an authorization as to what we want him to do. So maybe we could invite him to the next meeting and ask for a suggestion.
Or give them some time to check out the streets, see how bad they are and what kinds of things have happened in the past.
Sure.
And what he thinks might work.
Can I
Yeah.
say something?
Yep.
Before we spend any money on this, I'll have my guys do a traffic survey and see if it's actually a speeding problem or not.
Sure,
You
that's
know.
great.
That would be my suggestion, is that before we spend any money, let's set our machine up out there and actually time the cars and find out if it's actual speeding or just a perception of speeding. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Do
Good
you
idea.
think do you think that when people see that, then they're slowed down, but then when that's gone, again, that starts up again?
All it is it tells them their speed, but we have our methods. We'll take a look at it and see what the problem actually is. Because I can remember when I patrol, we were over there all the time because of the complaints. Like I said, it's been going on forever.
Okay.
What happened last night, it's a pop-up group that goes from shopping center to shopping center and races around and causes problems pretty much all over Northeast Philadelphia and Bucks. It was our turn last night, and we wrote some tickets and towed a car. So we did take some enforcement action last night.
And you're referencing that for the woman that made the comment about
Yeah.
motorcycles.
Yeah, we were absolutely out there, and the problem is, in there a parking lot like that it's open to the public. They can hang out there. So we kind of had to chase some people out, and like I said, we wrote some citations and towed the one guy's car. So hopefully they'll stay out of town in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks,
You're
Ted.
welcome.
Okay, so pending then the chief's report, we could use that to then decide if we want to speak to Joe Fialco about it.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Item number 1 on tonight's agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of item 1A, approval of the minutes of April 8th, 2021. That was a special township meeting that we had. Approval of the minutes on April 14th, 2021, our regular public meeting. Approval of accounts payable April 28th, 2021. And 1D, approval of certain reoccurring monthly bills April 28th, 2021. We would need a motion to pass the consent agenda. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Made by Mr. Shannon, a second.
I'll second Deb Kaplan.
Seconded by Ms. Kaplan. In our virtual meetings, we hold a roll call vote alphabetically. Ms. Cummings, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kutsaratus?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Thank you. Ray Weldy, I vote yes. The consent agenda passes with a vote of 5-0. Item 2, consider adoption of resolution 2021-12, the amended fee schedule. Our building code officer, Mike Italia, has been working diligently for months and months to bring our fees into the 21st century and have them in line with fees that other municipal governments charge. I don't know if we received an update on this in the work session. I don't know if any board members have any additional questions or Mr. Italia wants to weigh in at all.
I'm still here. Yeah, no, it's nothing. It was some stuff about the sewer research with applications and that, just modifying some verbiage and adjusting some stuff that was missing out of there. It had to do with the tax office. But other than that, the building fees are staying the same.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions from the board?
No.
No, that takes.
Okay. Hearing none, then we need a motion then to approve and adopt resolution 2021-12 for the amended fee schedule. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion, Ray. This is Susan.
Made by Ms. Cummings, a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Shannon. Thank you, Ed. A roll call vote. Ms. Cummings?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kutsaratus?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Thank you. Ray Weldy, I vote yes. The motion to adopt that new fee schedule passes with a vote of 5-0. Item 3 on the agenda is an update, is a follow-up on an update that we received during the work session, and that would be a discussion with the Playwiki Farm Foundation representative regarding their 2021 events calendar. The board was provided with a copy of that events calendar, and if did Rose stay with us to give us an update on that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Rose, I'll turn it over to you. And if you want to give a brief summary of what the plans are for this summer.
Surely. And joining me also as one of my constituents on the board is Mr. Jim Cates. He's also on the call. So, because we really do work as a team. So first of all, thank you so much for talking to me during the workshop. I really appreciate it. To put a lot of things in perspective regarding the Playwiki Farm Foundation 2021 calendar of events. So we actually look forward to having the opportunity to even have the events, but because of all that we've been through in the last year and not being able to do them. So your support on this would really be appreciated. For the second Fridays, they do begin in June and they end in October. The only other events throughout the year then comes to are the holiday events, which are in the latter part of December, November and December. So that's just regarding the holiday, but that does not, they're nothing like the second Fridays. So we would begin in June, and that one is with a food truck rally, and hosting it is Jen Flannery of Mommy's Little Black Book. Now, why do we do that? We do that because Jen knows what she's doing. This is what she does for a living, and she has everything in place with the health division, with the CDC and everything for these events to even transpire. So we've worked with her now for the last 3 years, and we've been very, very successful with it. So we've learned a lot from it with her help, and it's very supportive to the Playwiki Farm Foundation in raising money. So the only thing that I ask is the permission to have the events, number one, and then also permission to include the beer and wine garden, which is only 2 vendors. We only have, as usual, the Naked Brewery and then also the Buck, and that's it. And it is only from 5 to 8. So it's really not party time in reality. It's just a matter of you getting together and having dinner, choosing which food truck you want to utilize, because there's so many of them, and having a beverage. So that's basically it.
And Rose did indicate that it would be in conformance with the CDC guidelines, and you were asking for authorization from the board to do these events in conformance with those guidelines.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Now, I did meet with Ryan, the fire marshal, and I also yesterday met with Walt, who's very familiar with all of that also. So we're all on the same page, and we definitely will follow the protocol. We will not go above beyond what we're supposed to be doing.
Great.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
No?
I'm
Okay, then we would.
satisfied
I'm
with the
sorry.
way Rose explained it previously. I'm very satisfied with the way that it's going to come about.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, so then we would need a motion from the board to authorize the planned
I'll make
events.
that motion, Ray.
Okay.
I don't know where the phone's
I don't know
at.
whose phone that is, but
Yeah, right before you get to vote. Can you hear me?
I was waiting for the phone to stop ringing wherever that's occurring.
It wasn't at my house. This is Jim Cates. I just wanted to let you guys know that, the board is in full support of what Rose has proposed. And let's be optimistic. It looks like things are loosening up, and there may be very little restrictions by the time June comes around. As everyone knows, they just loosen things up a little bit, but the board is committed to doing what is necessary to keep everybody safe and have a good time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim, for your
Thank you.
comments.
Ed, what's your motion then? Could you, because I'm not sure we heard it.
Oh, all right. The one that Rose made to just approve what she's got planned for this year, for this season.
Okay,
that
so
right,
Mr. Shannon's made a motion to approve the tentative events as have been described to us for Play Wiki Farm for 2021. Would anyone like to second that motion?
I'll second it, Deb Kaplan.
Seconded by Ms. Kaplan. Thank you. Ms. Cummings, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kutsaratus?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Thank you. Ray Weldy, I vote yes. That motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Good luck, and we hope you have a successful summer at the farm, and thanks for the update, Rose.
Good
I
job,
appreciate
Rose.
that, and thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're
No
welcome.
problem. Thank you.
With Play Wiki, Rose. Nice job.
Thank you.
Hold
Thank you.
on, hold on 1 second. Hold on.
We need a motion also for the alcohol component.
Oh. Well, I'll second that also, or first that also.
Okay, so Mr. Shannon, your motion is to approve the beer and wine garden at these events?
Yes.
Okay. I'll second that motion, Ray Weldy. I'll second it, and we can go through a separate vote for that. Ms. Cummings?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kutsaratus?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Thank you. Ray Weldy, I vote yes. So the separate motion for the beer and wine garden approval for those events passes with a vote of 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Rose.
Thanks, Rose.
Next,
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Next up is item 4, consider authorization for the township manager to act on a letter of credit request from PNC on Wawa Inc. letter of credit. Joe, if we have a copy of that,
I'll comment on
please.
that.
Okay.
There was a request for a release previously, which was approved in January of 2020. There was a second request, which was the same request. It was done mistakenly. And in order to get the paperwork in order on the letter of credit, they need us to reject the second request for the release of funds of $36,055. And Joe's looking for authorization from you to sign that rejection, and that will get the paperwork in order, and they can then proceed with the other action that needs to be taken in regards to the letter of credit. So
that's a lot, but okay.
So the answer is there's already approved once. It's a mistake. The motion we're looking for is to authorize the township manager to reject the request for a letter, the release of the letter of credit in the amount of $36,055.
Thank you, Frank. Would anyone like to make the motion as described by our solicitor?
I'll make it.
Mr. Shannon made the motion. A second?
I'll second that. This is Susan.
Second by Ms. Cummings. A roll call vote. Ms. Cummings?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kutsaratus?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon?
Yes.
Thank you. Ray Weldy, I vote yes. So that motion to authorize the manager to act on the letter of credit passes with a vote of 5-0. Next up would be the manager's report. I'll turn it over to Township Manager Joe.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir, Chair. Just two items real quick. Again, for the Township Cleanup Day, we want to say thank you to the 80+ volunteers, as well as our board members that showed up for last Saturday's Cleanup Day. We will probably most likely be running a similar event probably in conjunction with the fire marshal office, probably for shredding and electronics again in October. As far as sanitation rebates, again, the ending date is July 31st. Currently, right now, we're at 779 rebates. So for being an office that's kind of in lockdown mode, a whole lot of rebates are being out there. And Mrs. Eisman has done a good job with that aspect and assisting the residents there with that. So the sanitation rebates are moving forward. And again, that would be ending as of July 31st. The other item, I think, Ray, you wanted me to discuss, I guess, in dealing with the pool program. Mr. Walter Mulholland had discussions with the board earlier this evening. We have our marching orders with regard to discussions with the vendor. Since the days in question appear to be 51 days of pool activity, we will move forward with that and meet and discuss with the pool vendor and come back to the board with a dollar amount for the service. And that's basically all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Joe. And just to let people know that may have missed the work session, what Joe just said is that the board is fully behind and supports the opening of the Dolphin Club pool. We were presented with a proposal of 51 days, and we are also in support of the summer camp at the Dolphin and the amended version of Russell Elliott Memorial Park. We are waiting for a report from our township manager dealing with American Pools, the vendor for the pools, to see if that can be worked out. So we'll know more at the next meeting. That being said, we'll move on to supervisors' comments. Ms. Cummings?
Thank you, Ray. I'd like to thank everybody for showed up for the clean day. It was a beautiful day. Looks like everybody had a good time. A lot of, as Mark had mentioned, made a big difference, such as running another one in the fall in October. Also, the spring take back day was actually the same day, and I had seen a post where 9,943 pounds of unused, unneeded, or expired medications were collected in Bucks County on April 24th. So that's a huge, huge amount. It brings us up to a total of 162,640 pounds since 2010 the website. And I wanted to officially welcome Walter as the Parks and Rec Director. He gave us a lot of good information this evening. I'm glad that we're going to be getting the Dolphin and the summer camp going. It'll be should be a good summer for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Ray, I've
Yes.
got a couple of things here that I'd like to bring on, and they may bring some conversation about it, and I don't want to make it forever, but I would like to bring a couple of things that everybody I think is interested in, and two of the
Sure,
things.
Ed, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. Two of the things are, one is the parade, and the second is vaccinations by the COVID, or for the COVID, I should say. Let's do the COVID first. And I've been in touch with Assumption BVM Church to use their gymnasium, because it's not used very, very much, to act as a vaccination area. And I know we have to do some work on it, but I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention that they have offered to use that space, the gym, and what reality says, what that gym was built for the total population of Lower South. And Father Mike has said, yes, we can use that facility to do the vaccinations of COVID. We need a ways to go yet, but it looks like probably mid-May, 12, 15, something in that order, if we can get the nurses and doctors and so on. We also know that Acme is putting their store in the line also, and with the Assumption facility, the Johnson & Johnson, and one other one. We don't know what the other one is yet, but I just thought it was a nice offering for them to come forward and say, thanks a lot. So anybody got any questions about that? It's
I do.
I do too.
For more places, because there's been some articles about, they're having walk-ins and they're possibly, Philadelphia, I read something about how there may be excess. Is it that you're thinking that if it was more local, but it is at Neshaminy Mall, is the county looking for more locations to do the vaccines?
I can't answer that question at this point, but I think it was offered by the church, and I've been talking to Father Mike, and we need to go a ways yet, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that it's been offered. Obviously, we need to check a bunch of things out, but it's just if there's a need for it, I think that's what they're willing to do. To do more than. So,
that might be something that you might want to call the Bucks County Department of Health on, because they coordinate all the sites.
Well, yeah, we intend to do that. Now, what I'm doing now is just bringing it to your attention. I'm not asking for a vote or anything unless Frank thinks I need one.
No.
It's more than just.
Because I thought the commissioner voted on the sites in the county that
they probably will, but this is just an offer that's been made, and we need to check a lot of things out. This is mostly just initially to talk about. I don't think
Ed, maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 2 weeks you'll have a little more information and see if this is feasible, and you can just report back to us.
I'm sure I will.
Okay.
It's either going to be a yes or no, and
it's a great idea.
Actions and so
on. It's a great idea if it can be pulled off.
Yeah, I mean, it's one more place that for local people, the seniors, most of them, it's easy to get to. They're used to going there and that kind of thing too. So that was the one issue. The other one is the parade, and I know we've had some issues talked about this in the past, and Miss Connie is working on it again. She's back working, thank God, and she's already picked up 5 bands that are interested in being in the parade. Now, obviously, it needs a whole bunch of changes to the way we used to do it. One of them, particularly, is the booklet that we put out before. People want to be recognized. Companies want to be recognized by the parade. They donate money and so on to us, and we've thought about putting signs out along the parade route for the participants in the parade. And there's a whole lot of things that we have to do yet, but what we do know is that people that are in the parade or have been in the parade in the past are very much interested in being in our parade. And just as an example, South Philadelphia String Band, we have not quite heard back from them, but they're showing interest. And we've got I wrote down 4 or 5 other parade, but there is interest in the parade. And the population has also been beating me up saying, why don't we have a parade? People are smart enough to be able to use a mask. They want to get out. They want to be with their neighbors and whatever. So there's a whole lot of reasons why. So again, it's something that we're working on. We talked about it, excuse me, recently. And what I think most people would like to have is a parade. Maybe we shorten the distance. Maybe we won't have as many participants as we've had in the past. But there's a lot of things we can do to administer or define who is in the parade with signage instead of a booklet. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that we could do. So anyway, this is comments. Look for comments. Not everybody's in favor of it, obviously, but there you are.
Yeah, I think at the last meeting, Ed, when you brought this up, that we were behind you on it, and suggested maybe talking to the fire marshal and somebody from the Department of Health, and not for their permission, but more for feedback on how to maybe pull off a parade over a circuit that maybe is a mile long on two sides of the street. You know, what would the recommendations be? And it's a lot like the event at the farm. What would the recommendations be for making sure people, I don't know, wear a mask if they're not vaccinated, maintain distance of 3 feet or 6 feet or whatever the thing may be?
Right.
How would we police that?
Right.
Was the fire marshal or was anybody able to respond to any of that or not?
Yes, the fire marshal, I've talked to him fairly extensively. I've talked to Joe a little bit about it. Connie is, she's gaining interest in it. But just about anybody is interested in it. Now, I haven't gone to the extent I wanted to run by again our group here, the supervisors, to see if there's still an interest, because I know there's a lot of things that need to be done yet. But I think
Is Ryan with us?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ryan, could you say a few things about that you and Ed were talking about?
Yeah, so some of the things we were talking about, like the health department and some other townships that are hosting parades, like Ben Salem, Langhorne, are all hosting their Memorial Day parades. Talking with them on some things they're doing. They're pretty much just on like the Facebook posts and putting signage out that's saying, you know, CDC guidelines, like people should still follow the social distance and, you know, wear a mask if you're around people not vaccinated. And then they're just leaving it up to pretty much like the public to follow the rules. There's not going to be anybody like walking up and down the streets enforcing the rules from their parades. The health department was pretty much on board with how they're running it.
So there are other ones that we've talked about that are doing them. We intend to get in touch with them and say, how are you handling it? There was one wasn't there one that was already held, Ryan? Was that
I think they were all coming up for Memorial Day. Langhorne and Ben Salem was Memorial Day, and Upper South was doing 4th of July.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
So anyway, that's where we're moving towards at this point. So
with the right oversight, Ed, this could be pulled off.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. I believe it can. Yes. Okay. And some of the bands that are already booked, Connie is booked for 4 or 5. I forget now. Joe, has she got 4 or 5 parades already?
I believe it was 5. And in addition, we'll have, hand sanitization stations set up. We'll be handing out masks and so forth to try to assist in those measures. Again, we can't force people to wear it and, do the things that we want them to do, but we could have that out there and about, and it's the resident's choice. But I think he could pull it off.
We're going to give masks out, did you say?
Yeah.
How many masks are we going to be able to have and to be able to do that?
Well, we have a fair amount of stock that we have procured from COVID over the last couple months. So okay. I'm not saying we got 18,000 or 19,000, and that's what the event's not going to have that, but we'll have a fair amount of hand sanitizer as well as masks going around and being circulated if people want it.
Okay, so we have them in stock already, I hear you say.
Yes.
Okay.
But if we need more, we have quite a bit of money in the parade fund itself. So there's nothing has to touch the budget or any of that kind of stuff.
But this is stock that we already have, that we have already built up and that we already procured. So we should be fine.
Thanks.
So
Rick.
Ed, maybe at the next work session on, I think it's May 12th, maybe you could, between now and then, any feedback that you get or Ryan gets from the other municipalities holding parades, we could hear recommendations on how they could be integrated into our parade, and we could see how we're moving along on it.
Sure. Yep,
Yeah,
we can do that.
Yeah, plus if some on Memorial Day weekend, we can see how that all worked out.
Yeah.
Yep,
That'll
possibly. Right.
be here.
The other townships
Okay.
are supposed to send me like what they're going to be doing. So as soon as I get that, I'll pass it on to you guys.
Great.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks,
Do you have
Ryan.
anything else, Ed?
No, I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thanks. Let me see. Kim?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a little hoarse tonight, guys. I do apologize, but as most of us probably know, on March 27th, out on Bridgetown Pike, there was a pretty horrific accident where it involved 4 Neshaminy schoolgirls, 3 of which were actually Lower Southampton residents. A little idea what had happened was there was a drunk driver who had struck these girls. The girl's car had overturned, and they were in a very bad way. I've been working with Joe Galdo has been helping me out a little bit. Mr. Steve Brooks from the chief from Lower Southampton Fire Department. I've spoke to Frank Farry, and what my idea is that day there were residents who lived across the street on Northampton side who came out, and I don't want to say they saved the lives of these girls, but they could have. I had heard the car had caught on fire. One of the residents came out with a fire extinguisher and started extinguishing the vehicle. Another resident came out and started pulling some of the girls out of the sunroof of the car. Very heroic things. I would like to have some sort of ceremony. And Mr. Farry, Frank Farry, had given me the idea of possibly having it over at the Lower Southampton Fire Department, since they were the first fire department to respond. The ceremony would encompass a few things. I definitely think that the residents who came out definitely should be given some sort of proclamation from the township, from Frank Farry and whoever else would like to recognize these people. Our first responders, our Tri-Hampton, Lower Southampton Fire Department, the work they did that day, they deserve a big pat on the back for what they had done. Also, I would like to invite the girls, if they're able to come, and their families. This isn't the idea of this isn't a huge community event. The fire department doesn't have the room to handle such an event, especially with the restrictions that are upon us now. But I think it would be a great thing to do for the for all these parties involved. And I'm not necessarily looking for any type of approval from the board, because I don't really know if we have to have it, but I just wanted to let you guys know what I've been working on with the help of some others. And we're thinking about doing it probably maybe in June, possibly like a Thursday night. I'll give you guys more details as time goes on, but I definitely wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I don't know if anybody has any input that they might want me to think about. I'd be glad to take some notes now. Any other ideas that might go along with it? Please, feel free to speak up if anybody has any sorts of ideas.
Sounds
Well,
like a,
thanks for letting us know about it, Kim. I think that's a wonderful tribute. Absolutely.
No, I mean, to think about what these residents did. I mean, they were Northampton residents, but who cares? I mean, they did such a terrific job, and you feel so bad for the girls. And obviously, our first responders are always terrific, but sometimes people really, really step up when they're not even trained to. And I think it's important to really acknowledge them also. So
I couldn't agree with you more, Kim,
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
residents. Yes.
thank you.
Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, there was this, I think in a Sunday paper in a Courier, there was a great, not a tribute, but a great descriptive article on what those residents did and how they ran out and pretty much saved those girls and, the risk that they took.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
it's a fitting, recognition for what they did and what they sacrificed.
Yeah,
That's all.
absolutely.
That's all good stuff, Kim.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, since you guys all seem to be good with that, my second topic is something that we had talked about last year, and since Ed is talking about the parade, I've had some county officials reach out to me once again. Last year, we had a terrific Back the Blue rally. As I think most people know, I'm a big supporter of the police throughout the country, not just locally, but throughout the country. We had a incredible Back the Blue multi-township motorcycle run last October. It was phenomenal. And since that time too, I've had, a couple county officials reach out to me and say, hey, that was great. We would love to do it again. I've had the Warrior Watch Motorcycle Organization reach out to me a few months back, said they would love to do it again. Now that things seem to be opening back up a little bit, it wouldn't be until probably October again. So, I'm not going to beat the horse now, but it's just something that I wanted to throw out to the board that, within the next few months, I'll probably be coming to the board again for board approval to use Russell Elliott like we had last year. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, guys. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Deb?
I can see that as an annual event, Kim, actually,
Well, that would be terrific, Debbie.
every October.
Yep, that'd be terrific.
Just to sort of piggyback on what Sue had said, on the Take Back Day that the Bucks County Drug and Alcohol Commission in the county was involved in, they also collected 450 pounds of sharps, which is really, really good news because that's a situation that it's difficult to dispose of. So also they were able to give out 200 free Narcan kits on that day. So they had a successful day as well as our successful day. It kind of went hand in hand for a cleanup day. You know what I mean? It wasn't planned that way, but it worked out great. In fact, we had a resident that came to our site for the medication. And of course I told her where to go, Progressing School, because that's where it was in our neighborhood. So also, again, I had a great time on cleanup day, thanks to all the residents and organizations that pitched in and helped make our community a cleaner place. That's all I have.
Thank you, Deb. I'll close out with two quick things. Follow up on cleanup day. Thank you to the 80 residents that came out. They sacrificed a Saturday morning to make our town a better place and clean it up. We were out behind McDonald's and along Arby's, and it was a pig pen, and we were able to get it cleaned up with the help of about 6 or 7 other residents. Other people were all over town, and they did a really great job. People crawling in poison ivy and everything to pick up trash that had blown around all winter. And then the last is welcome to Walter Mulholland. Walter hit the ground running as our Parks and Recreation Director just 48 hours ago, and he's taking the bull by the horns and trying to make a go of things this summer. He's been inundated, gave us a clear, concise report tonight, and we welcome him aboard. So thank you, Walter. And he wants to get home. It's his daughter's birthday. So that being said, if there's no further business, we would need a motion to adjourn. Would anyone like to adjourn this meeting?
So moved, Ray.
A motion made by Mr. Kutsaratus, a second.
Second,
I'll second Deb Kaplan.
Ed Kaplan seconded. Thank you. Ms. Cummings, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kutsaratus?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon?
yes.
Thank you. Ray Weldy, I vote yes. Meeting's adjourned with a vote of 5-0. Have a great evening, everyone, and thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Night.